Welcome to the podcast, From One Mother of an Addict to Another. This is a space of sharing heartfelt personal experiences, insightful thoughts, and powerful suggestions, which can hopefully assist and offer strength navigating your journey alongside a loved one facing addiction and mental illness.
Hi, welcome to the podcast episode, Life Sure is Messy. So I took a couple of weeks off and I went to visit one of my kids, and then I went to the beach with my husband. And I decided, I was looking in one of the drawers, and there just happened to be a book that I never looked at before that says Life is Messy. Wow, what a title, right? I'm like, oh, I wonder what this is about. You know, your typical story, something happened in someone's life, just kind of sharing, oh, everybody has messy things that come their way. So I just sat there and started reading it. It turned out to be an extremely informative book. Part of it was like, okay, it kind of talks about all the things that occur to us in our lives, right? And that come our way and how we cope with it. Actually, I believe it's two professors from California. And what happens is that they were doing some research, then they were teaching a class on this because they thought it would benefit their college students to learn about all the things that life has to offer, and that, they might be A students, and they might feel like they, have many things in their lives, but in fact, throughout their life, it will be messy. You might have a great job, and then you're let go of that job. Okay, well, but you had this great job. Now you have to step down like 5 steps in order to get back up to that job where you were already at the top. So what do? You keep looking for that same job that's at 5 steps ahead, exactly where you were. What do you mean? Why should I go down? Oh, well, actually, time goes on and that's not happening. So fighting it is acting like, no, I'm not taking that job. Forget it. I'm going to wait. And you wait and you wait until you get so locked into that defiance that it's very hard to get out of it. And then your ego gets in the way. So it's just an example of kind of like when things happen in your life that you can't get past. And it got me thinking about so many things with coping with a family member or your kid's addiction, mental illness. It's like, okay, life's messy. How do you get past it? Can we get past it? Should we feel guilty for getting past it? Should we feel guilty for being able to move on? Whereas other people that are locked in that messiness still and allowing it to take over their lives, that they're doing something more productive and better for their child or family member than we are because we've stepped aside from the mess and have not allowed it to come into our lives or run after it. That is really something to think about. I thought it was awesome, because it really puts everything in perspective right there in front of you. Do you want the mess? Are you in the mess? I'm not in the mess. I was in the mess for many years, and I kept going back into the mess and bringing the mess into my life, right? I kept going after him. I kept making sure I was on him. I knew where he was, what he was doing. If he had enough money, did he have anything to eat? Does he have a roof over his head? Then he needs to go back to rehab. Then, does he have a roof over his head? Does he have food on the table? Then he's got to go back to rehab again. How many more times am I going to do that in my life? That brings the mess into my life, right? Because it's anxiety driven and it's stressful and it's like trying to live someone else's life when you have no control over it. And it's kind of like how people feel like they have to do certain things in order to feel like their life, their daily life is in order. And if something goes out of place, like everything's going to fall apart. And we all know that's not how it works, but sometimes that's a coping mechanism for some people. So when I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about, wow, that is such a great way of looking at this. It's the people that are in that mess with their family member, brother, sister, kid, parent, aunt, uncle, friend, and they're sitting there and they keep like doing the same things over and over and over again, and still being in it with the addict or mental illness patient, and basically feeling like they're going to be able to save them. They're going to be able to solve this. That's the mess. I think it's so cool. You're not in the mess. But you're not in the mess. You still have guilt. Oh my God, I have such guilt. I read things about people saying that I'm wrong, basically, because they're basically saying, oh, well, I love my kid. I'm not going to walk away from them. How could I walk away from them? No, then what? What's going to happen to them then? I can't walk away from them. I get it. I totally get that. I felt that way at one time. I was very naive. I was very understanding of my son's issues, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't walk away. I wasn't ready. I wasn't strong enough, nor did I want to. I don't think we ever want to walk away. I think something has to happen in your life, like get really messy, like something so bad that you come to that realization, like, I'm done. Nope, I'm done. I don't know. I feel lucky that it happened to me. I don't think it happens to everyone because it has to be a real trauma. That's the only way you'll get to that place. So the people, like for instance, let's say you have someone that's an addict or mental illness. And let's say one of them overdoses just when they were clean. They just got clean. And then next thing you know, they overdosed. Okay. Does that get you to that place and realization after all this time, realizing that no matter what you do to get them into rehab, to get them into IOP, to get them into any type of program, to have a coach, a private coach, group lessons, is anything going to stop that person from trying again or doing something that they is going to affect them, not taking their medicine? Knowing that if they don't take their medicine, they're going to have a problem and their behaviors are going to go off the rail. But no, again, they get to that place where I don't need the medicine. I'm fine. That is a place where things start spiraling, and that's where the mess comes into play. If you're going to get involved with that mess, like make appointments for them to go to the doctor. No, you don't need to make appointments for someone to go to the doctor. They need to go to the doctor. They need to go to the psychiatrist. They need to want it. I know, I've done it before. Oh my God, I remember. And then he never showed up for the appointments and I had to pay out of pocket for the appointments that he didn't go to. And I just couldn't believe it because we already had been there. We were there together. And that psychiatrist told me, okay, you need to step aside, let him do it, and he needs to make the appointments. But I said, I don't think he's going to make these appointments. It's like he won't take that step. She's like, well, then he's not ready to get better. Well, okay, I wasn't ready to hear that back then, right? I was in that mess. Oh, I was part of it. I wasn't even just in it. I was part of it. It's okay. It happens. Look, I'm telling you the truth. I've been in it. I would look at people and say, oh my God, they've totally given up on their kid. What? They're walking away? They just kick their kid out and that's it? They have nothing to do with them anymore? Oh my God, but their brother's getting married. Their sister's having a baby. They're all getting together on a family trip. The whole extended family is going away for grandma's 90th birthday. What do you mean they're not invited? What do you mean they shouldn't come? Their best friends getting married. What do you mean they shouldn't be invited? We shouldn't track them down. No. Nope. No. It's actually better for them not to be there. They don't really want to be there because they feel down on themselves at that point. Because they look at everybody else and their life doesn't look like that. Their life is a complete mess, right? To them, it doesn't look like a mess. It looks like everybody else has a problem. But we all know that their life's the mess. They just want to bring us into it. And some of them don't even want to bring us into it. But we don't allow them to pull away until they do something traumatic to you, and then you pull away, right? Until then, it's very hard for parents to completely pull away. If you're not at that place, it's okay. Listen, it's going to take time. It's hard to say no. If you're not used to it, it's hard to say, I can't live like this anymore. You have to have the right mindset and support around you. That support, and I've spoken about this many times before, good friends, no one judging you, family members. And just when you think people are judging you, they're not judging you. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. I was out to dinner with some people the other night, and they started asking about some things about one of my sons, and then we started talking. I said, unfortunately, look, my other son, I haven't heard from him. It's very sad. His birthday actually is coming up, and she goes, I never know what to say to you. I thought it was the coolest thing the way she said it. I never know what to say to you. I think it's such a hard place for a friend or family member to be in because we care. We want to know. We want to be there to support you. But there's really nothing that we can do. And by asking, we kind of make it feel like we care and that we're thinking of it. But on the other hand, we don't know how to present it. Oh my God, that's like the story. There it is. That's everybody. Everybody feels that way. So how do we get to that place? You got to be secure. You got to bring it up. You got to say, yeah, and my other son, as you know, it's unfortunate. That's it. And then you clear the air. It's done. On to the next topic. That's kind of an easy way. I know it's kind of making it out like, oh, it's no big deal. It's totally a big deal. It's always the elephant in the room. I actually said that to them. It's always the elephant in the room, but a lot of times the only way that it's comfortable if the person that's coping with it, they're okay talking about it or saying something about it or feel confident enough. And only way to get to that place is to have the right therapy, consistent, and going to groups, getting involved in something, maybe NAMI, National Association of Mental Illness. I always saw these people get involved in diseases or organizations that their family member has experienced, either leukemia or cancer or breast cancer, all kinds of things. Now, some people stand on the sidelines. Others don't. Others get involved. It doesn't make it bad because you're not marching for the National Association of Mental Illness. Okay? No, that is not it. It's not bad because you're not on a board association or involved in your local community board. That's not here nor there. It's just being aware of it. It's being aware of what's available to you and when you need it. Again, the messy part is so real and so raw to all of us because it triggers so much. Like what we cope with having a child that's estranged from us, and then imagine something else now coming into our life that makes it even more messy. Losing a job that you loved for a million years, and now you got to figure out what you're going to do when you're 55 years old. Or maybe one of your other kids comes down with an illness, or one of them maybe had a miscarriage, or one can't get pregnant. all these different things that come into our lives. Or maybe yourself, you're coping with illness, or maybe you're coping with loss, another type of loss, or having to put a lot of effort into taking care of elderly parents and the strain that it puts on us. Those are all things that come up. And I find that when the mess comes to us, whatever it is, it brings on so many emotions, and it piles up on top of each other, one by one. And the real emotion is still there, that our kid is estranged from us. It's kind of like when you watch a movie and like, yes, it's really sad, but you can't stop crying. And it's just, you're so emotional. Let's face it, it's more than just the movie. It's the fact that these things are happening to you. You don't know where your kid is at. You haven't seen them in years. You haven't spoken to them in years. I can raise my hand. I do it. I am that person. It's very sad to me. And things do come up. I don't cry every day, but every so often it happens. And then I'm looking at something or watching something sad, and there we go. Can't stop. And then, of course, I start thinking of him. Now, the messy thing and the cool thing was so cool. This is it. This is how you help yourself. Ask the question to yourself where you are now. Where are you at? Where are you at in your life? Like, okay, write down, I work, I make this amount of money, I'm married, I'm divorced, second marriage, first marriage, I have a dog, I go to bed at this time, I wake up at this time. Write all about that. I'm feeling really good in my life. I'm not feeling so good. I feel a loss, even though I haven't had a full loss. There are a lot of things to write about. Now, if you can answer those questions, you basically know where you're at in your life. Like, I'm not at a bad place in my life because my son is estranged from me. I would do anything to get him back, in order to help him. But I'm not at a bad place because I feel that way. Like, I am at a good place because I worked on it. Like, I'm at as good a place as possible. I'm not saying I'm at the best place, but I'm at as good as possible for having a kid that's not in my life, that I miss terribly, and that I still can't believe is not in my life. Just like any of you listening to this, we all would feel the same way. Maybe they're in jail. Maybe they got out of jail. Maybe they're expecting you to be there for them, and you're not there for them. Okay, well, yeah, it's messy. It affects you, but you're doing the right thing by going on with your life. They made those choices at that point. And yes, mental illness and addiction, it's a disease, and it's tough, but you could only do so much. But if you know where you're at in your life, you've taken yourself and you've decided, okay, my kids are all out of the house and I'm an empty nester. Let's see, what am I going to do now? I always loved art. Okay, I think I'll take a couple of art classes. All right, I'm doing really well with this. Maybe I'll go to the local community center and see if they offer any of these, if they need anybody to teach some of these art classes. Oh, okay, that felt good. Maybe I'm going to go to the local high school and see if they need someone there. And maybe I could start working there. Okay, you're doing something you enjoy, right? You're working with art all day. And you're incorporating that into your day to feel more fulfilled with your life. I think that's your next step. How to fulfill yourself, fulfill your life. Okay, you're working full time, you hate your job. You can't get out of your job because you make a lot of money. I know the feeling, and so you feel trapped. You're never trapped. There are other ways of trying to figure it out, but you're so exhausted from life bringing you down that how are you going to even do that? And that's where you start. Where are you now? Oh my God, I'm 10 feet under. Okay, how are you going to get out of that? And that's where you go. Layer by layer by layer. I used to be like, okay, I'm like 6 feet under, and now I'm like just got pushed down another 4 feet. Like, how much lower can I go? Oh, you could go lower. 100%. I mean, really low. But I guess that's okay because you're not stuck. And that really is the whole thing in the book. Like, life is messy. It's going to happen to all of us. So how do we get out of it and how do we work on it? And if we don't work on it, the only reason why is because we don't even know where we're at right now in our lives. And I thought that was the coolest thing because it really breaks it down to that. Figure out where you're at in your life. And that will make it a little less messy at the moment. And then you'll have control over your life because that's the only life you could control. And how you're going to make that better. Just work on it one by one by one. Instead of saying, ugh, I'm miserable, and every day you're miserable, and every day you're doing the same thing, and every day you're looking to everybody else to make you feel better. It's not going to happen. It's too draining on everybody and yourself. So it's funny because I was with some people like about a month ago that had been with me from the very beginning before I told anyone about what was going on with my son in my home. And they remember, I was saying to them, wow, remember way back when, wow, look how far, it's come. Look how many years. Pretty sad. I'm really not at a better place. It's no better. Nothing, it just a lot of ups and downs, but nothing actually ever got better. It just kind of was always there. It was just masking it in many ways. And, but that's my mess. I cleaned my mess up because that's not my mess. And I know that now. So that's where you need to get to. And you could do it. And you start with the things in your life you want to make better that you could control. So if it's working on your relationship, working on a relationship with other kids, making your family more cohesive, your extended family, bringing new friends into your life, whatever it is or isn't, there's no wrong or right. It's just worth working on because no matter what, life is going to be messy and it prepares you for the things that come your way. And you're more solid on your feet because you know where you're at right now. Even if it's not perfect, even if it's not really what you want, you know where you're at. And that is how you can start rebuilding what you want. But until you get there, you're a mess and you can't get to the next stop. I just thought that was an awesome way of looking at it. Hope this helped. Thanks for listening and keep listening. Have a great day.
Thanks for tuning in. I trust this episode brought you insight and strength, offering valuable coping strategies. Stay connected with weekly content, plus follow if you enjoyed, and be sure to journal for your own self-care.